because our talk is entitled The Game Changer You Need. Okay? The power and value of impactful branding for MSMEs. Gusto nyo ba yon? Right. Now, people often call our next speaker a creative and design director and branding strategist, but he views his work as a culture catalyst. The intersection of problem solving, storytelling, and the proper crafting of resonance and meaning. So, ako excited ako for what's in store for our talk for today. And also, um, our storyteller, he is a storyteller. He actually is a multidisciplinary professional that has a journey that spans on advertising, branding, corporate communications, marketing, design, publishing, and culture synthesis. Grabe, ang dami. You have collaborated with premium brands, esteemed institutions, multinational corporations, small, medium enterprises, startups, and industry leaders since 2011. Wow, that's a whole more than a decade of experience. He enthusiastically held the position of creative and design director and chief strategist at Design for Tomorrow, a forward-leaning independent studio born in Manila in the Philippines and now registered in Singapore. So DFT's footprint goes beyond Manila. Alam natin yan. With a seasoned history of international branding strategy and design accomplishments, and across diverse industries, including energy, media, manufacturing, hospitality, property development, professional services, and luxury lifestyles. Maraming excited dito, I'm sure. And in major global cities like Tokyo, Singapore, LA, Melbourne, Yangon, Madrid, Brussels, Berlin, and Vienna, all over the world. I'm really excited on what's in store for us for today. I'm not gonna delay it further. I gave him a very good introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO and Creative Director at DFT, Mr. Ric Gindap.
Thank you. Thank you. Morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having us today. As I mentioned earlier, we don't participate in a lot of trade fairs, but Trixie came to us with a really amazing story. And when we heard it, we said yes without hesitation. So let me begin. The question that I always ask people when they come to us is, in a very competitive landscape, do you really want to blend in? Do you want to be anonymous? Because it's a very important question to begin with. Can we afford being misunderstood? Because a lot of you are struggling with this. Whenever corporate clients come to us, we ask the CEO, you have a mission and vision statement by your lobby, but if I ask your frontliner, the receptionist, will he or she be able to tell us exactly or clearly what that means? Because all of you started with a really great idea. And somewhere along the lines, you somehow felt misunderstood or there's a lot of brand drifts from your original vision and then hindi mo na alam ano na nangyayari. Bakit saturated na ng madaming distraction ang ginagawa natin? So how do we refocus that idea? Do we want to give in to despair? Because entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of challenges. Or do we want to try and find meaning, joy, and consolations in creativity and beauty? Because we're always about function, function, function. But we need beauty to uplift our spirits as well. How can creativity give us hope? How can it become a powerful tool for resilience? And how does it forge our identity? So, madaming questions. Why do we need creativity in our life? So, central questions in defining yung mga vision at the start. And as my strategy director and head of copy, Chris, has mentioned, ano ang istorya ng negosyo mo? At bakit kailangan nating ikalat ang istoryang ito to engage people, because if we have a great story and we are always misunderstood, Anong silbi nun? So that's what we do at Design for Tomorrow. We are a branding, strategy, and design company, but our capabilities are very extensive. As what we mentioned, our footprint extends beyond Manila. We have projects. I was recently in Tokyo to relaunch a brand that we have been working for 2 years there. Recently, we have also completed a project in Munich, in Vienna, and a lot of other projects also in Singapore. So before we begin, when we started 13 years ago, when we say we are a branding agency, people are, what's that? Is it advertising? Is it PR? Is it events, activations? So we had to explain what branding does a lot. But now, everybody is a branding expert, but it's still a widely misunderstood discipline. So ano ba talaga siya? Can anybody tell me what this is? So this is really the genesis of what the term branding is all about. Um, in the olden days, when a ship of one landlord trespass on the land of another landlord, there's no way to identify them. So the kings and the landlords created this tool. This is a branding iron. You put it in fire, and the initial of that king or that landlord is stamped on the hip of a horse or any livestock that they have to assert ownership. That is what branding is all about. Asserting your identity and ownership of something in the mind ng ating mga target audiences. Okay? So how does a 132-year-old brand stay relevant like Coca-Cola? Their logo did not even change. But for so many years, you, they have owned happiness in the mind of the public. You do not drink a Coca-Cola. You open happiness. It's a powerful brand message that resonates with us because we need happiness in our lives every day. People are branded. Look at Oprah. Look at Tyra Banks. From a supermodel parlaying her identity into beauty, production, television shows, etc. Then we have the grandmother of personal branding. Her her name is extended to everything from magazines, media, um, food products, even I don't know, cat extended to cat products. I mean that's how powerful branding is. Sports is branded. Our local hero is branded. Superheroes are branded. Even, this is very interesting, David Beckham is a brand by himself. Victoria Beckham is a brand by herself. When they get married, even the marriage is branded to sell us things like, I don't know, underwear, perfume, and lifestyle. So, what I'm trying to convey here is branding permeates to every aspect of our lives. Destinations are branded, politics is branded, right? So even cities and countries are branded. I Amsterdam, it's more fun in the Philippines. Malaysia, truly Asia. There will come a point where your brand has created enough traction and so powerful na kahit walang pangalan, you know what that logo is and what it stands for. That's the power of branding. You become an icon that stands for something in the minds ng ating mga target audiences. Next. So what does it do really? Like here, it provides navigational tool. It's intimidating just walking in one aisle of a grocery store with 300 brands screaming at you and you have 15 seconds to make a decision based on the logo and the packaging of that product. So it provides it easy to navigate the sea of choices. My first question is, do you want to blend in or do you want to stand out in this busy aisle? That's what branding does. Next, differentiation. I'm not gonna show you a product. I'll just mention 5 brands and pay close attention to how your mind behave. A Ferrari, a Bentley, a Toyota, a Tata from India, and a Nissan. Automatically, without even looking at the product, your mind organizes the levels of priority depending on your price point and your aspirations. Next, we've got it all for you. You're in good hands. It becomes embedded in our mind because a brand is all about reassurance and equity, right? The good guys, Malaysia, truly Asia, more fun in the Philippines. It creates a space in our head that becomes ownable to us. Next, this is fun. For the same function, women, pay close attention, for the same function of carrying your bags, Sekosana is 999 in SM, an alligator Birkin is 18 million pesos. There's a gulf of difference for the same function. So what branding does is it establishes firmly in the mind of the people your position in that competitive landscape and justify the price point with the right kind of proposition. Like what Chris has said, ano ang istorya nito that will resonate with you, that will make you cough up 18 million pesos when you can have the same function cheaply elsewhere. Next, synchronization. This is the role of entrepreneurs. Ang idea ko ganito, ibang ginagawa ng tao ko. So what branding does is it makes your vision very easy to understand. You're like the conductor in an opera. There's a cellist, there's a pianist, there's a harpist, there's an alto, a soprano, and a tenor. They're performing different functions but guided by one hymn sheet. That is your vision. Next, engagement. Why does certain brands so magnetic that you don't have to advertise? And why some spending gazillions in advertising only to be ignored? And I always have fun asking clients this. If you drive from Monumento to SMX, how many billboards did you ignore? Each billboard will have a minimum of 5 million investment to put up there, and you just ignored it because there's nothing in there that resonates with you. Next, goodwill. If you don't do your branding and protect the reputation of your brand, there will come a point where you have to do a lot of damage control, right? So that's why your brand is one of your most valuable asset that you have to protect fiercely. Next, example, this building can be anywhere in the world. You can be in BGC, you can be in Singapore, you can be in Makati, you can be in Quezon City. But your perception of this building will change if you slap a logo in front of it. So which one do you think is believable? How much will you pay when the logo is slapped in front of this building? See? That's the power of branding. It determines how much value you put into the table. Next. So we have a couple of case studies because we have a limited time. But I'd like to highlight what we did with Coco Pan lately. Sobra naming love ito. Normally, we don't do mass-based kind of projects, but they came to us with a powerful story. And the story begins like this. Rick, we know that premium ang ginagawa niyong branding, but pay attention to us because think of a call center, think of a single mother, think of somebody who will rush in the morning and plow through the day with nothing but a single pan de coco as their fuel. And we fell in love with this story. So, if we go back one slide, we said, you're not a bread. One slide back, please. You're not just, if we can go back a little bit, you're not a bread. You're not just a pan de coco. So we look at our layer of the vision and the narrative on what they actually do, and we reframe the story of the coco pan. Coco, the courage to continue. Because that's what fuels our everyday resilience for people na hindi maka-afford kumain sa mamahalin na restaurant. So a single pandikoko is no longer a functional thing. It's a rallying cry that gets ka namin. Pandikoko lang yung pagkain mo, but it will fuel your fight for the entire day. And it became a powerful narrative of how we redesigned this identity. Next, please. So as you can see from a very playful, multicolor thing, we created a little bit of a premium feel to it. We call it mastige. It's mass, but a little bit of prestige. putting a little bit of dignity in a humble product like a pan de coco. And then we guided the execution of this brand, every element of it, um, from the packaging. Then we improve also the customer journey experience by creating not very expensive but sort of touch points of the retail as well as the environment. And then ito naman ang Mendres. They have been there for so many decades. But the priorities of the market have changed. The pandemic have changed everything. I mean, marami, ako is included, na bumibili ng Mendres because that's what I can afford. It's very sturdy and also it never goes out of style. But if you're talking to the TikTok generation, nag-iba na yung pagtingin ng tao sa Mendres. So we're looking for, where are you going with this? And we have a really passionate client who wanted to firstly protect the brand but also wanted to extend it into the TikTok generation. So the logo, we made it a little bit, again, a little bit premium looking, although the price point is very approachable. We fixed everything. And then we created the story that it is not just shoes that you pass on, but men dress is for generation anywhere. So you wear it regardless of what decade you're in. And that becomes a sort of a nod to the tremendous legacy of the founder of this brand. And then Luminis is also a challenger 12 years ago. They are now ranked one of the top three in skincare and beauty. We created the name, we created the packaging, we guided their strategy that if you really want, how can we compete with the likes of established brands like Bello, for example, or Ivy? But we need to craft our own little niche, and this is what we did for Luminis. And we're very happy. They're one of the most successful brands that we ever did. And today, we are here because of Trixie to launch the rebrand initiative. One participant from this room will be picked and we will offer our services free of charge, from strategy, design, and the importance of storytelling to, again, to unlock and uplift that particular brand through design and creative thinking. So we design for you because we've been there. Like you, we were an SME. We're also finding how can we differentiate? How can we compete when there's a lot? Isa sa ano namin, somebody was asking kanina about AI. How can you charge people X amount of money when you can have AI design your logo in, I don't know, 15 seconds without paying anything? How can you charge a certain amount when there is 99 logo, 99 cents logo.com? So, but we feel like people who come to us don't pay for the actual act. They pay for the impact. They pay for clarity, and they pay and invest on the creativity that will differentiate them from the sea of sameness. So thank you very much. And we have a booth over there at PS4. You can also follow us on Instagram and designfortomorrow.co for some of the more extensive case studies that we have been working in the last 13 years. Thank you very much.
Now, Rick, I have a few questions for you, right? Actually, a lot of questions for you because it's very interesting, right? Branding, there's a lot here, and we want to pick your mind, your creative mind. You've been through a lot, and you've experienced a lot of brands, or you rebranded a lot of products. Now, let's go a simple lang. What if, like me, my business is hosting and magic, right? What if we are just a small or a solopreneur? How can how can we be more creative when it comes to branding or anything? How can we be creative even if we're just small or if we have a small budget?
Oh, I love working with small entrepreneurs. In fact, we have a rule in the office. The big corporate brands pays the bill. The small entrepreneurs with a solid vision is our playground. Because their vision is undiluted. If you're working with, I don't know, the greatest nightmare for people like us is entering a boardroom of 12 executives who cannot agree with each other. When you're working with an entrepreneur, it stems from a powerful idea that they see before everybody else sees it. And for us, that's a fuel for creativity, right? Because it's fueled by passion, it's fueled by innovation, and they're agile. They're very agile, they're very decisive, and they're also fiercely protective of their ideas. And we love that level of passion. So for me, being small is not a disadvantage. In fact, if you did have a great partner and can mine these things from you and express it in the most resonating way possible, you have the best edge there is.
Wow! 'Di ba? Yun, oh, maraming pumapalakpak sa likod. Kaway-kaway sa mga SMEs diyan, sa mga small ones, solopreneurs. Eto na, may tatanong I'm sure a few of you are thinking of this one, right? What's your daily motivation? Two-part question 'to, ah. What do you eat for breakfast? I'm sure hindi pantikoko ngayon, ah. What do you eat for breakfast? Ano yung breakfast of champions? And what's your daily practice or your advice for being creative daily para ma-peak yung interest or yung creativity every day? Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't eat breakfast most of the time because I wake up, I just get fueled by coffee, and thank God for Pan de Coco. Sometimes w- the team that helped me design that brand will always buy it, not because they are our clients, but because we believe in the brand that we actually work for. And aside from coffee, and the second question, creativity is very difficult because people think that you're just plucking things from the ether and you have already the answer. In fact, is most of our game-changing brands that we have ever developed is because we approach it from the point of ignorance. We do not go there telling people, oh, we know what to do. We do not assume. That's why our process is very intensive and collaborative because we're not designing for ourselves. Well, we will be designing for you. So if you put ego into the mix, it's going to be like flashy design that does not mean anything. And that's why we had that with Coco Pan and even with Trixie because it's really their vision. We just have to bring it up to surface, and that's what we project to the world.
Wow! Powerful, no? Now, one more question. Very, very personal to sa akin eh. There are SMEs or solopreneurs or small, SMEs that are on the verge of giving up,
Yes.
right? What's your advice for them?
That's also our story. There was a time in 2015 when we said, why do we keep doing this? And I think this is a story, and I posted on LinkedIn about people will always praise you for being the first one in the office when the truth is you actually never left. We can, sleepless nights that turns into mornings that you have to hit the ground running. And it's very easy to give up, and that's why vision is powerful, because when you're about to give up, you have to remind yourself, why did I even do this in the first place? And if impact is really what you wanted, to impact the lives of others, it's also fueling you not to give up.
Wow. Ayun na, narinig nyo. You've heard it from Rick, di ba? One more. Since you have a very creative mind, we want to extract as much as we can, not because we're stretching time, but we just value your time here, okay? So,
Sige lang.
yan. Gusto ko to. Now, next part is, uh, now, there have been challenges, right? There have been very big challenges in your lives. Can you tell us a story of the biggest one or top of mind, biggest hurdle, and how did you overcome that? We want to hear an inspiring story from you.
Well, like for example, we are all struggling. I think all SMEs are always struggling with regulations, taxes, for example, is our daily struggle. We have a new rule where even if the client does not pay you the minute you send an invoice, you have to pay the VAT. Those kind of things. It sort of sometimes dampen your enthusiasm because you're not just thinking for yourself anymore. You're thinking of the team that you put together. You're thinking of your clients and how you can serve them better, right? And again, the point of giving up. So for us, the inspirational moment that really helped us redefine is when uh, we did a project in Singapore. Um, I don't know. It was serendipitous, and it reminded us why we should work with visionary entrepreneurs instead of a lot of corporate clients. It brought us back to our own mission. She went to La Picara for dinner. It's a restaurant in BGC. Tapos, she was in love with everything. So, hinanap niya yung may-ari. Who did this? Who did the branding, the packaging, all the uniforms? And that entrepreneur is somebody we love. And she said, oh, you have got to talk to Rick. So, I got a call. And normally, I ignore an identified call. But sobrang persistent. I was in the airport. 5 calls that I have been ignoring. On the sixth time, sabi ko, sino to? Sobra naman tong persistent. So, I got a call and she said, hi, you don't know me. I got your number from Isabel. I suffered with autoimmune disease and I realized that there's no beauty and wellness product targeting this kind of people suffering because we are a minority. I am from Singapore. I need your help. I was in the airport en route to Singapore. So it was very serendipitous. And when we started hearing her stories, that inspired us to go back to the core mission. What is design capable of? So, and sometimes the hotbed of this kind of passionate stories are entrepreneurs who are not, doing business globally, but they have a specific mission also beyond just doing business. And that's why we're here today because we reminded ourselves of that particular moment.
Grabe. One more time for Ric Gindap.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. And you can take your seat and visit his booth doon sa left side of the stage. Yeah, you can interact more with him. And we have more talks, very inspiring talks now for our